All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate for your favorite podcast. There are 4 amazing shows I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards, the longest running premier awards event in the podcasting space, open to shows worldwide. You can vote at podcastawards.com and nominate the following shows: Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in the categories of education and storyteller drama. This show is based on the world-famous Writers of the Future contest created in 1983 by L. Ron Hubbard and provides writing tips and art advice from contest judges, winners, and industry professionals for writers and artists wanting to take their next step, along with the needed inspiration to keep on going. Next one, The Centralist in the category of politics and news. The Centralist is a much different news and political program. It is not opinion news, it's just the facts so you, the people, can make up your own minds on the different stories reported on. Listen as Joe Montaldo brings to you just the facts from trusted sources. Science and Beyond in the category of science and medicine. Science and Beyond is a true science-based program that explores every aspect of science, from how things work to why we need science. And where science can't explain something, we go beyond to see if we can figure it out on our own, how something works. The Outer Realm in the category of society culture. The Outer Realm is a very popular show hosted by Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, with guests who are well-versed within their respective fields of ufology, paranormal, cryptozoology, and anything else that would be deemed otherworldly. Nothing is off limits in the Outer Realm. Michelle is an international public figure and has spent the last 18 years working in the paranormal. Her co-host Amelia is a remote viewing medium with 9 years experience working in missing children and cold and active murder cases. So go to podcastawards.com to vote for these 4 shows and any others you enjoy listening to. That's podcastawards.com.
Here we are in the Writers and Illustrators of the Future Lounge at the Author Services Building in Hollywood. It contains a gallery of the writer and illustrator judges, a selection of the awards the contests have received, a library containing novels and art books published by winners and judges, and a selection of photos of some of our beloved keynote speakers and guests. For nearly 4 decades, L. Ron Hubbard's Writers of the Future contest has discovered and nurtured a steady stream of new authors and artists who have changed the face of science fiction. Chosen by an impressive panel of judges, drawn from the biggest names in the genre, contest winners are given the best possible foundation for a long-standing career. Now in its 3rd year, the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast continues to provide advice and tips from contest judges, industry professionals, and contest winners for writers and artists wanting to take their next step, along with needed inspiration to keep on going. If you are already a regular listener of this podcast, I thank you. If you are new to it, I welcome you to the weekly installment of the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast. This is John Goodwin, your host.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Centralist. Sorry for all those commercials going on there. We up for 5 million awards right now, so we got everybody popping out for awards. You can hear a lot of promotions about awards coming up. That's what we're going to be hearing about the next 2 weeks. John and Emily will be joining me soon. Either this Friday or next Wednesday, we'll be doing another show on the award categories. I do know most of us did get nominated, so I haven't heard about all 5 shows, but I know 3 of the shows for sure have reached the secondary nomination stage, so get over there and vote. Hey, Mike, what you up to, babe? I just seen you pop in.
Driving. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear a little feedback somewhere in the background, too, but you all right. Yeah,
might be my air conditioner in the car, man.
Yeah.
But,
I'm
on the way to my mom's house. My sister thinks someone broke in, man, so.
You better go check it out. You better go check it out. Better get over there and check it out.
Get my butt up there, because the stuff there is mine. I have stuff in storage there, man.
Let's not be letting anybody break into anything.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
well, you know what happens, Joe? When you leave a house alone, there's people always looking. There's people always watching, man. There's those criminals. They're always watching you all the time, constantly. So the second you slip up, that's when they get you.
That's true. It's one of the things I hate about leaving my house alone on a Gulf Coast because, it's not exactly rural. There are homes around it, but it's kind of rural. But then there's a lot of traffic goes by. It makes me a little nervous when we're going a couple of weeks at a time. Oh, welcome everyone to the Centralist. Mike and I were just chit chatting as we came back in from all those commercials. But Yeah, you got to be careful, especially these days. I always pick on people, but as you can see, Martha, my sweetheart, always travels with me. And Billy Bob, her boyfriend's going to be traveling with me soon. So she's got her little son there, Raven,
All right.
that travels with me too. But these days you got to be careful. I mean, today, I was in a rough part of town today. I was in a bad neighborhood in New Orleans. I was on the West Bank, which is another bad neighborhood in New Orleans. You got to be real careful in these areas. As a matter of fact, it was so funny. I stopped to get something to eat, and I had my car door open, and I keep the gun stays in the side of the seat of my car door. And you see this guy look over at it, and then the cop pulls up. He cracks up, so he walks past me, and he spins around because he noticed it, and he just looked at it, he smiled, and he walked in the store. And I was getting gas. I was getting ready to go in and get a sandwich. And he comes back out. He said, "What is this?" It's a 9mm cannon. Oh, yeah, man, it's like a shoot straight as an arrow. He said, "You carry concealed?" I said, "No, I carry concealed in Mississippi, but Louisiana, it's a little different." I said, "No, I usually open carry." I said, "I like people to know I have it on me. I feel better that they know the gun's are actually there." I said, "Carrying it concealed is fine." I said, "But then somebody might do something stupid." I said, "When they see that cannon on my side, they think twice about doing anything stupid."
Can't you just like write it on a name tag, like I have a gun? And then people are like, wow, man, this guy's like messed up. He has a gun.
Well, in the old days, I used to carry 2 or 3. I'd have one in the boot, one in the side, and one on my side. But now there's 1 or 2 in the car. Linda carries one every once in a while, and then I got this one I carry with me now, and I'm getting ready to buy a 45 cal, which I'll be carrying with me. It's a 12-shot 45 cal, so I'll be carrying that one as well. And it was funny. A couple of weeks ago, I had one on each side. I walked in a grocery store. I forgot I had the one on the right side on. I walk in. It's like the Wild Wild West days, baby. I'm thinking, yeah, piss me off, people. Go ahead. It's but
you don't find them bulky and heavy though.
No, not these. The new guns are light, man. The old guns are heavy. Like my son's
They're
got.
just bulky to me, man.
My son's got.
I like things that are thin. Yeah, Glocks are cool. Glocks are a little blocky. They're reliable though. I know that much.
Most people don't realize that you have 3 sizes of pistols. You got small, which you get a small Glock. You get a medium-sized Glock. You get a large Glock. Same thing with these. You can buy a small, medium. I got the large one because I like to carry more rounds. The medium size only carries 11 rounds, and the small only carries 7. Well, this one carries 21. So you ain't getting away from it. I'm not going to run out of ammunition before I kill your ass. So, I just prefer it that way. And I'm used to carrying something big from the service. I was carrying the 45 cal, the standard 45, which is a big gun. It's a heavy gun. But people don't realize, heavy guns are easier to shoot straight with because it holds the barrel down. So it doesn't do that jerk in the air.
Beretta was the big deal in the military back in the day. I mean, the 1911 and the Beretta. I mean, they had a few. Now they're on the Sig Sauer. I don't know how I feel about Sig, though.
I go back.
There's a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people don't like Sig, man.
You go back because sometimes they shoot well and sometimes they don't. It just depends. And like with the Glocks, you modify. Everybody likes to modify the Glocks. They put the little hair triggers on it. But
the military.
Sound trigger.
The military's no real. I don't measure against military because one, they're limited on their ammunition, of what they can use and what they can't use. But they're also they're limited on the guns. I mean, they come down to contracts that they just pick up and whatever company they use.
Well,
so
sidearms are pretty standard in the military. You can carry a revolver if you want. Most everybody carries an automatic. They're usually 45s. Pretty standard 45 Colt or something like that. Pretty just standard 45 all around together. But
let's say that revolvers are the most reliable out of all the handguns. 100%. I mean, not much can go wrong with a revolver.
The old days were today. The new automatics. Nothing goes wrong with them.
The magazines get hung up. Magazines get hung up, man. I mean, it happens. The ammo could be oblong, or stuff like that. But the revolver's a revolver. It's gonna work.
Yeah, sometimes the revolver don't because the cap can be bad, and they just blink to get a blank.
I knew a lot of NYPD, and when they started carrying the automatics, man, a lot of those guys still wanted their standard revolver.
When you buy an automatic, the first thing you do is you go shoot a couple 100 rounds out of it. That way, the bolt gets loosened up on it, so you don't get any jams on it. Mostly, the reason guns jam up these days is because it's low power powder. Like a 115 grain or 110 grain or 90 grain. It's not gonna push the lever back as far. Like this one with a 127 or with a 124 or 147, that bitch don't never jam. I mean, it shoots like you can shoot 34 and with the 3.5 point trigger, it's like shooting an automatic. I mean, like shooting a full automatic. I mean, you can, as fast as you squeeze it, faster than bullets coming out of there. So it's a nice feature. But the 115s will jam. You actually got to shoot 200 or 300 rounds out of it to loosen it up enough that the 115 can jam. So, but they tell you that when you buy the gun. So that's a different thing. And it's a competition pistol. It's made for
My protection gun was always my 44 Magnum Bulldog, and snub nose, small, good accuracy though. I'll tell you, you can still shoot targets pretty far away with that thing. But man, if you want a hand cannon, especially if you're on the bad streets of the cities, you know what I mean?
I got a wallet Derringer 357 Magnum. It's a 2-shot. That's all it is. It's a Derringer, but it fits in your wallet. So your wallet's cut around the Derringer. So you go to reach your wallet out like somebody asked you, you slide your 2 fingers in it as your hand in the dirt dig.
Well, that's can't carry that thing in New York, man. You're done.
Yeah, police carry these. That's how I found out about him. My stepfather used to carry him as a state trooper. That's how I found out about him. And I seen his wallet, and I said, "What's that? God, why you got a hole in the middle of your wallet?" He said, "Look." And I said, "Oh shit, it's a Derringer, and a nice Derringer too, a nice gun, but it's made to fit in the wallet. The wallet's made to fit around. It's a nice thing." Jackie, we're gonna get on the stories in just a minute. We just christened over a couple of weapons real quick.
We're just talking about guns.
Well, guys,
it seems to me we've been talking about guns for a while now.
Well, because usually we wouldn't, but with today's world, it's like, this is a perfect lead-in story. So, somebody sends me a story today. Oh, the reason Chicago has so much violence is Mississippi is shipping guns to Chicago. I'm like, and this is a CBS story. I'm like, really? Where'd you get this from? Mississippi's strict on people with guns, man. They don't play around with that shit. And nobody's sending their guns in Chicago.
Exactly.
Nobody down here wants to get rid of their guns. There's not that many people. People forget Mississippi's only got like 2 million people, and most of them can't even afford to buy a gun. Unless it's like
there are states like Ohio that are very close to Illinois that you can go and buy guns, man. You can buy massive amounts of guns. There are states that have very few restrictions on that. I mean, especially manufacturers. These guys know what they're doing, and then a lot of times they're stolen anyway. So they're not buying fresh guns and selling them.
I was at a gun show the other day. I was getting ready to buy a gun, and they're going to do background checks at the gun shows. So I can understand why presidents get pissed about it and things like that. And really, I don't think they can do a gun day. Somebody said, "Well, you don't want to get a background check." I said, "No, I don't care. I get a background check every 4 years anyway from the FBI." So I'm like, "What the hell? You want to go ahead and buy a gun? No big deal." And but like the one I'm getting ready to buy. So if I buy it from a private dealer, it's just a bill of sale. There's nothing else. So buy the gun. The gun's I know the gun's legal because I know who owns it, but still, it's just a bill of sale. Whereas other places, but I don't know how they're going to change it. So what you're going to expect a private owner to do a background check? And so that's not going to work. You're not going, and you can't ban private dealers from selling guns. So I don't know how they're going to fix that. Because I personally don't have a problem. Whoever wrote that, I don't have a problem with background checks. I really don't. I think everybody should. If you're going to buy a pistol, rifle or shotgun, not so much. Maybe even rifles, but shotguns, not screwed. You don't need them. If it's a hunting gun, if it's a made hunting gun, I don't think you should have a background check. No,
shotguns.
That's not a hunting gun.
I'll tell you about shotguns, man. They're the most powerful weapon you can own, really. And the cool thing about it is the loads. They have so many diverse loads now, They got one that's got like a bolo. It's got 2 pieces attached by a wire. That's pretty intense. I love that.
But then they've got rat shots. So if you don't want to kill somebody, you can just pepper their ass full of little tiny BBs.
Yeah. Then you get high capacity. You have shotguns now that have multiple tubes that can hold 14 shots. Some will hold 20 shots.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, I had a street sweeper. They're actually not known as a good weapon. They're kind of junky, but it held 15 rounds. That's a lot for a shotgun, man.
Yeah, we get the 8-shot riot control ones. They're actually still legal here. That actually that goes back to which one was it? The Texas, which one was it? The one where they killed his wife and they killed his kid and they killed his dog. Yeah. Which one was that?
If you're shooting slugs and you have a semi-automatic shotgun, you're doing all right. I don't know a lot of people that would face that down.
But the problem with a shotgun is that they're just short range, 50 yards, 30 yards, 50 yards.
Yeah, basically, but they're meant for home defense. Yeah, home defense, skeet shooting. Skeet shooting is a lot of fun.
But everybody
You
down
know?
here hunts, but you can still buy the shot loads. Like if you get people in your yard,
Thanks, man. Right.
so you can just shoot them with rock salt, shoot them in the ass. It's actually still legal. If you have a no trespassing sign on your property in Mississippi or Louisiana, you can actually shoot somebody with rock salt. It's not going to kill them.
I knew a guy who worked as a security guard in a golf course, and he the same thing. He would have rock salt in the shotgun. That was back in the 70s. You try that now, and you end up getting jacked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, somebody might pull something big out on your ass and start shooting at you.
Well, these days, little kids have 45 automatics. You know what I mean? I mean, like my sister's ex-husband, he was a police officer, NYPD, and he's told me that his partner is up to him and said, "Hey man, these two little kids just robbed me. They both had like 9mm." And the cop's like, "What do you want me to do?" Like, you want me to go after them? I mean, it's become that. But I'll tell you, we're talking news. In Chicago, the cops are outgunned, gang members to Chicago 9-1. 9 gang members for 1 Chicago police officer.
Because they keep retiring up there. They're retiring.
Yeah, it's like you said, Joe. You called it a long time ago when people were putting their when Obama was putting his crews to cops and not supporting them and all that. But then Trump took over and he was good to cops. But then people were angry at him, so they were angry at cops. You see what's going on now. I mean, if police officers don't really have a lot of respect out there.
When Portland is more violent than Chicago, we got problems. I mean, Portland was known as a peaceful, quiet, fun city. Now it's the wild west out there.
You can't let the freaks run wild. These people who, my feelings are hurt all the time, and you have to placate me, or all the stuff that I do, and whatever it's like, it's become a namby-pamby type of existence. You ever watch the movie called Demolition Man?
Oh yeah,
Wesley Snipes.
Way back.
Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes. It was, so Sylvester Stallone was this super cop, and Wesley Snipes was like a super criminal, right? And they both ended up getting frozen in like cryonics. Yeah. So they were stuck in there. So years later, it's a namby-pamby society. It's all, they don't even touch each other. When they say hello, they put their hands near each other and kind of do a circle, you know what I mean? Which is kind of like a COVID-19 type of move. And they called each other by their first names only, full names. Like, it's a cool ass movie. You gotta watch it sometime. Really cool movie.
Because Taco Bell was the restaurant of the day.
So yeah, exactly. Taco Bell was the only restaurant that survived the restaurant wars, and you saw what society became when ruthless people actually took over. Like the one guy realized that he needed more violence and crime, so they thought out Wesley Snipes and then taught him all this stuff, and then they wanted to fight him. They thought out Sylvester Stallone. But don't you feel like this world is a lot like that world? Like it's becoming like that, about just placating people in the way where, I mean, not everybody's going to be happy, and then the people who are unhappy about things, you can't force the entire 99% of the public to bend over for the 1%. There's a problem there.
They're trying to, but you see, this is one of them things. It shows you when we have poor leadership. So Putin's going to introduce a new jet on the 15th, a new fighter. China is building a supersonic jet to take people into space. Well, you know what they're really doing that for. They're using a supersonic jet they can deliver missiles with. I don't even know what the United States. I haven't heard anything military-wise since Biden's been in office, other than we've been sailing ships around pissing people off.
A lot of people are upset with Biden. A lot of Democrats are upset with him because he's not doing anything. They're like, "What are you doing?"
Well, there was 105 Democrats came out and said Trump won the election. I don't know what Biden's going to do with them, lock them in a cage or something. And more every day you hear. I mean, it's looking like there was voter fraud in Arizona. Looks like it was voter fraud in Michigan. Looks like it was voter fraud in Pittsburgh. I keep hearing the law said, "Oh, it's no in the news, no voter fraud, no vote." But every day it seems like there's a little bit more found, and a little bit more found, and a little bit more found. As of yesterday, he one more state, and Trump's actually the winner. So, but we're never going to see that change. You'd have to start a revolution to get them out of office right now.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen, man. But the problem is the whole politically correct BS thing. it's hurting this country. Free speech is hurting people's rights, the rights to even to privacy and things like that. You can't force someone to think a certain way. And that's what these people are doing. And I look at commercials; they're representative of that, of how much. But I mean, how much? Yeah, people should have an open mind, sure. But how much can someone take before they specifically start rejecting it? And then you hurt the cause. You hurt the cause that way.
Well, at least now I'm starting to see. I was talking to some friends of mine in Seattle yesterday, and I was talking to some friends of mine. Matter of fact, on my way home today, a friend of mine, she called me from Oregon, and she's like, "Man, I'm leaving Portland." She said, this girl's got a really $160K job up there, and she's going to leave because she's scared to walk from her house to her car. She said, "That's horrible." She said, "I live in one of the nicest neighborhoods," and she said, "The violence here is ridiculous." She said, "Homeless people are jacking up." And then we got the other problem. In Los Angeles, San Francisco, and one other city, I think it's Oakland, in California, the homeless people are robbing people because the cops have been told not to harass the homeless people.
Right. They let them steal at least $900 worth of merchandise from stores. They let them walk away.
Yeah, I put a video of
I put a video of these guys robbing Lehman Marcus. They weren't homeless people either. These are people who are opportunists. These are criminals, and they're doing it because they're allowed to do it. It's almost like you saying, there's no more laws. There's no more cops. You don't have to worry about it unless you do something really bad. But what's really bad? Murder? You let these people go for murder, though. I mean, look at all that. How many criminals have been caught since the bail reform that they let out, and they went out and they committed murder and other crimes, and they got caught again?
One of the things that bothers me about this, so they still got this guy in jail from June 6th, right, or whatever day, the 6th. He's still in jail now. They officially charged him with what was it? Attempted riot and disturbing the peace. No real charges, but yet in Chicago, the one guy who killed the girl with a straight bullet and the one guy who shot the guy up, the white guy, and killed him, they're both out on bond right now. Right. So, and then let me rephrase that. The guy who shot the white guy, he'd already killed someone and was out on bond when he shot the white guy and killed him. So if the dog would have been doing his job, the other guy would still be alive. Now we got Lightfoot up there, the most racist bitch I've ever seen. How she's still in office is beyond me. I mean, she's totally racist. She has no business being in politics, and you still never see any white people around her. She's still on that. Only black people can talk
now,
to.
We shouldn't call her a bitch. A bitch is a female dog, which is much nicer than what she is. She's a filthy opportunist politician that race baits and hate baits. That's what she does, and she learned that from this movement against Trump. When the shutoff valve was turned on, boom, and they could do whatever they want to do, man.
They messed up. And I said this to a Democratic friend of mine the other day. I said, "You want to know where you messed up?" I said, "Trump's not in office anymore, and you're still hating on him." I said, "Dude, what are you doing?" I said, "We moved on. You got to move on." I said, "It's time to move on." I said, "You need to start paying attention to what your idiot politician in the White House has done." I said, "The whole world's laughing at him because he can't even form a sentence." I said, "You worrying about Trump, and we got a guy up here that, half the time don't know what 2 and 2 is." I mean, it's just time. It's just time for I was listening to the president, the German chancellor yesterday. And she really kind of regrets that Trump's not around anymore because she thinks Biden's an idiot. I mean, pretty much all of Europe thinks Biden is an idiot. And Biden, NBC, yeah, he's great. We're great. And then I loved it. I got to love when he went over there for the G7. So you watch our news, right? Except for Fox. You watch our news, ABC, NBC. Oh, he's the greatest guy over here. He's perfect. Yeah. Okay. Biden is Putin is laughing his ass off at this guy. He's just like, it's like giddy. It's so funny to listen. Putin was scared of Trump. So was Beijing, but they're not scared of Biden. Even the North Korea guy's not scared of Biden. So now we've got China deploying airplanes south of the China Sea. Well, that's an act of war against the Philippines, which they're a protector of the United States. But they're not worried about it because they know this idiot ain't going to do anything. I mean, look at Afghanistan. So the Taliban is now taking back 2/3 of Afghanistan, and Biden's still like, "Oh, man, it's okay, man." Dude, what are you doing? You just handing Afghanistan and all its minerals to China. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? And finally, Bush came out and said something. So baby Bush came out today or yesterday, and that's a bad idea. You shouldn't be doing that, Biden. And boom, he was gone. I'm thinking, what? You need to get out there and stand up for your party. Trump's not in charge right now. I mean, you may not like Trump. That's fine. We'd like him, not like him. But he's not here right now. He's off doing his thing. He's not in charge of the country right now. Yeah,
he was just at CPAC. doing his thing.
He slapped a lawsuit against the Southern prosecutor in New York, saying he's just fishing. He said, no, you've been investigating my taxes for 3 years. You couldn't find anything, so now you made up some charges against one of my companies to go after some guys for perks. He's like, really?
Right.
He said, well, you better go look at NBC. I bet you they're not taxing their perks either. So he started naming off companies. He said, you better look at all these companies. He said, I'm going to sue the shit out of you. He said, because this is definitely showing favoritism. Because, I guarantee you investigate CNN, NBC. Chris Cuomo's not paying for his perks. He's not paying taxes on his perks. You can bet your ass on that. I bet you Governor Cuomo's not paying for his perks. Shit. The FBI already said that Joe Biden is definitely taking money from these pictures, which is illegal. But for some reason, I did hear the GOP say, because it looks like they're going to take back the House and the Senate in 2022. They're going to impeach Biden. They're going to impeach Biden and come out.
Love it.
Okay.
They love it.
Yeah. So it's just going to be and then the Texas governor saying he's going to arrest the senators. I mean, the Congress people when they come back to Texas. I didn't know there was actually a law that he could do that with. I didn't know there was actually a real law that says you can arrest him for this. So he's well within his rights to arrest him. And he said something about if they don't come in by the third time he calls up the vote. Yeah, I got you. Still there? You've been probed, man.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. You've been probed. We heard you get probed. It sounded like the aliens took you, man. Probed
Hello.
You. Oh, we guess that we lost him. We have to get him back.
Hello, Joe.
We lost Michael, so we'll have to bring him back. Let's see. He'll be back. So anyway, with all this stuff going on around our country right now, it's time for Americans just to stand up and say, what the fuck is going on, people? Don't give in. Don't whine. Just do something about it. You can talk all day long. Talk is good, but you're not going to get anywhere unless you've got reach like we do. You really got to get out there and be counted, And when you start seeing things like this guy who's still in jail over this so-called insurrection, which still cracks me up. BLM's done far worse than this guy ever did, but yet they're still running around our country free. But this guy's in jail still. You just that's in itself is kind of racism. I see quite a few people talking about how racist this is.
Can you hear me?
I got you back. You got it. Sounded like something grabbed you, man. You're like, you sound like the old dial-up for a minute there.
That's me.
Yeah, it sounded like that. It sounded like an old B9 modem or something going off.
I'm driving in the middle of nowhere, so it's like it's spotty around here. Good that I'm even connected.
5G, man. You're not turning into something. You better watch that 5G in New York. I hear it's activating.
5G around here. They don't have that around here yet.
That's why you don't have the zombies.
I'm in the sticks, man. We got different type of zombies. Yeah. They call it Como zombies. Chris Como, he's not. Chris Como's not paying taxes on his perks. Rachel Madcow Maddow's not paying taxes on her perks. I bet you the goddamn Southern prosecutor isn't paying on his perks. So Trump said, "Look, you're gonna have to go out to other." If you want to get technical, get restaurant. The guy says, the owner, "Oh no, have dinner. It's on me." There is no on him. If it's even things that are gifted to you, comped, you gotta pay, man, big bucks.
Yeah.
Remember when they went after all the dentists for giving out? Obama went after the dentists for giving out a toothbrush to people, saying the dentists need to pay the taxes on that toothbrush that they're gifting their patients. How's that?
I know. I got to say, when I got
that's Democrats, man. They look for every last dollar.
I got to say, what I'm more worried about with the Democrats right now is, okay, so Nancy Pelosi and Biden got a new bill out so they can monitor your text. So you cannot do hate speech in your own text between you and your friends. So you can't call your friends a dumbass, because now you can get in trouble for it. That's not going to work in our country. Nobody's going to go for you looking in our text. Nobody. Even the Democrats are going to be like, and then they got the new bill where they want to reverse a bill that was passed a while back that allowed the press to come out and just say shit about them, nonchalant without there being any consequences. We know Obama arrested there was 40 writers. 40, I'll keep wanting to call them writers, but 40 reporters he put in jail over, going after him. And so that's the thing. The Democrats don't want anybody to talk negative about it. They figure if they can pass this law, they can go after Fox and shut Fox up, and that just leaves NBC and CNN, which are always basically blowing smoke up their ass. But that's not going to work for them because if a Republican gets in, then NBC and CBS and all them are not going to be able to talk bad about the Republican. It'll backfire in their face. Democrats are just stupid in the fact that they seem to always be passing bills.
Putting down the Jim Crow laws. Meanwhile, that was Democrats that did that. It was her own party that did that. So what is she talking about? Oh, don't support the GOP because of the Jim Crow laws? Really? Because they want people to show ID for voting? I got to show ID when I buy a big lighter, man.
The ID thing don't work anymore. 86% of Americans said they want voter ID. 65% of blacks signed on board said they want voter ID. 75% of Hispanics signed on board said they want voter ID. So it's not. The Democrats can't win this. Every time they say no ID, it just makes them look like they want to cheat. And now we're starting to do that.
Well, black people were mad. So Spanish people saying, "What do you think? We don't have ID? Are you saying that like we're incompetent? We don't have identification at all?" There's a lot to that. That's how Democrats treat people. Yeah. It really is.
And it really backfired on Kamala Harris. So Kamala Harris I think she was with Chris Como the other day, and she's doing an interview, and she starts to say why we don't need voter IDs. And she starts saying, Pete and what's his name? Huckabee was listening to this. Was hilariously funny. So she starts going off with, people in rural areas might not have a Kinko's or even know what a Kinko's is. I'm thinking, really, did you just actually say that? First off, almost everybody in this damn country has a cell phone. So you can just snap a picture of your ID and send it in. It's not even a thing anymore. You don't even have to have a printer anymore. So, along with your vote, you can, no. So, and most people, if you don't have a printer at home, you can know somebody that does, and there's going to be somewhere in your town, whether it's a little town, big town, middle town, that's going to have a place you can use your printer. Probably a place you can plug your phone right into and print it right off your damn phone. So saying that just made her look ignorant. It made her, and then a lot of blacks came out and said, "Are you saying we're too ignorant to get a photo ID made? Is that what you're saying?" She said, wait, let me get this understanding. You're telling me that black people are too stupid to use a Kinko's? I mean, they were pissed, man. They were coming unglued about it. You can't blame them. And then you had all kind of old people got all mad about it. A bunch of rednecks got all mad about it. And this is Kamala Harris with her. Oh, well, this, because she can't figure out a reason why we should not have IDs to vote. I mean, everybody, look, people. I don't care if you're doing a mail-in vote, if you're going in and voting. If you're doing a mail-in vote, you should send a copy of your ID with your mail-in vote. We need to make sure, because after what happened in Pittsburgh with this so-called water main busted that we all found out was a broken toilet, and then all the GOP left, and they've got it on film with them moving ballot boxes in and out. So we know there was a big cheating going on there. And you got to wonder how Biden won Pennsylvania anyway. It's been a red state for a while, so you got to kind of go, oh, what's going on here? Same thing in Georgia. You got to wonder how all of Georgia went blue. The governor, the mayor, both the senators. I know a lot of people. Now Atlanta is blue, but the rest of the state is red. There's more people in the rest of the state than there is in Atlanta, so you got to kind of wonder what the hell was going on there. People but Stacey Abrams couldn't win, even with all the money she had, because that was before they fixed the voting where you could do 5 million.
They spent how much money? How many hundreds of millions did they spend to try to get Stacey Abrams in there? Think about that. Hundreds of millions.
And she couldn't win. But see, now they figured out a way with these mail-in voting's a way to cheat. But the GOP is not going for it. They're like, no, you need an ID. No matter what you do, you need an ID to vote. It doesn't matter what color you are, purple, green, yellow, red. We don't give a shit. You need an ID to vote. And it doesn't matter how old you are. I said this is another thing the other day. I'm listening to Nancy Pelosi. Old people can't vote because I guess they're too stupid to get an ID. And
right.
See, you can't go to the doctor with ID. You can't go to the hospital with ID. You can't buy anything with ID. You can go grocery shopping with ID. I mean, you got to have it for everything else. I mean, you can't go pick up your prescriptions without ID. So if you're old people like I am, you got prescriptions. You ain't getting in without your ID. You got to show your ID. So
right.
Anywhere you go, everything in life now requires ID. So why doesn't voting? So I don't know why. And I love my Democratic friends when they try to take up for it. I'm like, really? I said, let me ask you a question. I said, if the GOP was saying, why do we not have to have an ID? What's going on? I would be hating them nonstop.
Right.
Oh, we gotta have IDs. We gotta have IDs. God damn it, we gotta have goddamn IDs. It's funny to me, and I watch these flip flops going on for the last since Obama. So if the Democrats take it on, it's fine. If the Republicans all of a sudden decide to take it on, they instantly flip flop and they go the other way. But what is it? Oh, what's it? Socialism is the new. I can't say that on radio. Socialism is the new gay word for communism. I'm not sure exactly what you mean there, but we'll just leave that alone for now. Who was it? Yeah. So I was reading this article that a friend of mine, a gay friend of mine, sent me. He goes, Joe, he's laughing about this. He goes, so he said, Amazon people are quitting because somebody wrote a book saying that transgenders may have a mental problem. Oh, well, that's their right as an American. They can write whatever book they want. Freedom of the press, freedom of the. And so Amazon, they were asking Amazon what they're going to do. He said, no, if they want to quit, they can quit. Amazon, I don't think really cares. Amazon's selling too many books. When it gets into Amazon's pocket, they don't really care what your political stance is or anything else when it comes to their money. They're looking into it. And, when you talk about things like Facebook, Amazon, these big corporate companies, they're actually kind of pulling back now. They got too much flag cost, like Twitter. So Twitter bans Trump. So then Germany throws Twitter out. Mexico throws Twitter out. Like 12 or 14 countries now throw Twitter out. The first day they did it cost them $50 million. It's been costing them more than that every day. And they're losing people. So now what they're ending up with is a bunch of liberals, which only makes up about 20% of the country. So they're losing people every day. And now there's an investigation in them, plus Trump's suing them personally. So, because really they're left leaning. There's no way they're going to be able to say that they don't base their things on politics, on, what side of the politics you're on. There's just no way that's going to happen. Now they've showed themselves to cater to liberals and kick off conservatives. They're going to lose this suit in a big way. It's funny. I said this about 2 years ago. I said Trump may end up owning Twitter before this is all said and done. If I was him, I'd have left this alone. I mean, this was stupid on his part. And anytime, I don't think Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or anybody should be monitoring speech. It's not their right. So Facebook is trying to monitor your text now. So if you're texting, like, if we're in a messenger, they want to monitor Messenger. They got in trouble because somebody sent something in Messenger to their friend. And when they did, they got thrown off. They didn't get thrown off. They got put in Facebook jail. You know how they do it. They put you in Facebook jail. So they put you in Facebook jail, and that's how that went out, and the way it went. So they're griping about that now. Well, people are not going to put up with that. I'm not going to. You're not. Look, I catch you in my messenger mail. I'm going to sue the crap out of you, man. That's real quick. I don't want to get on this too long. But like YouTube, I've been suing YouTube. What's been going on. So this cracks me up. I'm driving home today. Blah blah blah. I'm actually bitching Chase Bank out about something. And my phone rings and it says YouTube, corporate YouTube. So I pick it up. I said, look, I'll call y'all back and finish this later. So I pick it up. So they made me an offer again today, right? So you can only get $4,950 here in Mississippi. You only get, just say, $5,000 in a small claim suit. And I've got 5 of them against them. And so last time they called me, they offered me $26,000. Today they offered me $38,000. They said, well, we'll give you $38,000 if you just make this go away. I said, no. I said, I told you. I want you to come down here because I want the media to see you picking on my little ass because you're some big, giant Google corporate, Google, and I'm tired of this. I said, I want you to see what's going on. I said, I've sent all these cases to the judge and the district attorney, and they agree with me. It was not hate speech. It was not, conspiracy speech and hate speech are not the same thing. And besides that, hate speech is guaranteed by the Constitution. If you want to hate on somebody, that's your business. If they can't take it, it's like the other day, the guy says, well, you're hating on them. They might do something stupid. Well, that's not my problem. I mean, if they can't be picked on, they shouldn't be putting their ass in the fire in the first damn place. Don't come scream at me and tell me a bunch of bullshit. And then when I tear your ass up, go crying to YouTube or Google or somebody because you couldn't come back. That's not my problem. But they really are trying to intrude into our lives in a major way. And, for me, I've been lucky with Facebook. I mean, for the most part, they leave me alone. Every now and then I do see they put a couple of our hosts in Facebook jail, but usually not for long. Who was the longest? I think it was Christine got the longest. She got 30 days. And I don't know what the hell she posted. We never could figure out what she posted. I got her 30 days. Most of the time they give you a day or 2 days or something like that, if you post something stupid. But somebody asked me that day, said, I don't understand why you don't get. I said, look, I said, YouTube hates me. I said, every time I post, I said, they took a whole channel away from us on YouTube. I said, Facebook doesn't. I said, I post stuff. The host posts stuff. Everybody posts. I said, I got a public page. Everybody posts stuff, and they don't never seem to care. I said, maybe because they're listed as business pages. I said, maybe that's why they leave them alone. I said, personal pages, though, they seem to mess with quite frequently. I don't know why. Yeah, Chris, that's actually on one. Hold on, that's one of the news one of the news reports we're going to be talking about tonight. So we might as well go there right now. So, who benefited the most from COVID-19?
Chinese.
But was it in our country? Who benefited the most? Was it the poor people? Was it the middle class?
The billionaires who knew how to invest, or had a heads up for it.
Look at Amazon. Amazon doubled his wealth in this little short of time. So the elite in this country's made a lot of money off of COVID. So it is to their benefit if the government locks us back there. But the southern states and the heartland states said they're not going for no more lockdowns. They don't give a shit if we all die or not. We're not going for it. They're just like, nope. They're going to be like the UK and say, well, we'll just have to let the variant wear itself out until it's done and then go. So I'm listening to CNN today. I'm sorry, MSNBC. And they're going, oh, look, it's all the red states. That's where all the COVID is, all the red states. Okay, then tell me why that California is up 165%. And they're considering bringing back the ban in Los Angeles and San Francisco because COVID is so high there. It's way higher than Texas or Florida. So then I get Florida.
Yeah, Florida and California are neck and neck right now. Nevada, there's 12 states that are really bad right now. But yeah, Florida, Florida's increased. Florida's increased in a week, and now the Delta variant. Remember last week we talked? The Delta variant was 1 in 4, and now it's 50-50. Half of the country. That's how fast it's taken over. Isn't that crazy?
But still, the numbers are really low. So when we went to peak last year, it was 240,000 cases a day. Currently, it's only 25,000 cases a day, but it has doubled since last week. It was 11. When you and I talked about this on last week's show, it was 11,000 cases a day. So now it's up to 25. So it has doubled, but it's really only in key states. It doesn't seem because it's not all the red states. It's a lie. It's mostly in the big populated states, Texas, Florida, New York, California, Illinois, where there's lots of people and lots of people got together. We talked about this before the 4th of July. Michael and I talked about this, and we said this was going to happen. Michael told you about the Delta variant 5 weeks ago.
And now I'm telling him about the Lambda. You heard it here first. You know what? That's UPRN, man. People hear things here first. I have to toot our own horn.
That's true.
We have some good hosts, for good for bad.
We usually stay ahead of everything. And well, guys, Mike's been working with the COVID people, so why he knows what's going on. But him and I had this conversation. Well, actually, it was 5 of us a couple of weeks ago. We had this conversation when the Delta virus first peaked its out. And Michael was telling them, they got a big argument. I forgot who was with us that night. They were arguing. Mike said, no, this is what's coming. This is what we're going to see. Now, here come 4th of July. We all agreed 2 weeks ago that 4th of July we were going to see peaks because everybody was getting out, kissing face, and hanging out together. And, of course, we seen it coming. Now, yes, a lot of these people are unvaccinated, but a lot of them are not. So we're finding out that the vaccine's not working quite as well as we told it was working, which kind of bites for a lot of people. But the Delta variant is much more contagious than the other versions.
Should be happy because Johnson's standing tall for now. The Lambda they think the Lambda. They don't think that the
man. Every time they bring them in the mothership, that happens.
They found the strains in the wastewater in Las Vegas. So think about that.
Hey, Perdido.
People had it, and they're active, and no masks, nothing like that. They're congregating. What do you think is going to happen, right?
Yeah, we knew when people started hanging out together, we were going to see this go up. Now, gratefully, it hasn't gone up through the roof and it hasn't spiked like it did the last time. But that's here now.
Not yet. I'll give it 2 to 3 weeks.
Well, the good part is right now everybody's staying apart. We're through the holidays for a while. What's the next holiday? September? Was it Memorial, Labor Day, whatever it's coming up? And then we're really done with holidays.
People are staying apart right now? No, they're not.
No, I'm talking about
people are 4th of July barbecuing all together. Oh yeah. Well, when it gets cold, people tend to, not be outside as much with others, but they're inside in large groups. The problem with the Delta variant, and you see the same thing with the Lambda variant, is that they believe it's aerosolized. So if someone's ill and they cough in the room doesn't have a lot of good airflow, it could really hang out there for a couple hours. I mean, that's pretty contagious right there. If you talk about transmissibility, man.
Stephen, look, I thought it looked like Stephanie for a minute. Stephen, yeah, you can get one of those. They're expensive. You can get one. They're expensive. You place them inside your air conditioner and your return bin, and it sprays a chemical aerosol that kills anything that's in the air. Do you want to be breathing that all the time? Is really the question. What is this? What is this doing to your furniture? What is this doing to your pets? What is this doing to your own lungs? So there may be a way here. You might want to check. No, they actually had it. They offered these before COVID, by the way, in case y'all didn't know this. This was something that's been out. We've been installing them in people's homes now for about 3 or 4 years, and they're a little harder to get right now, but you can get them, and they can freshen the air. They can kill all kind of stuff, and they're used especially in closed situations. See, I got a big house with 12-foot ceilings and shit, so it's hard to really spread things here because the way I get all that heat up there, it pushes everything down. So it's a little different for us, but we're in a regular house with 8-foot ceilings and small rooms. And so you have a much bigger chance of getting these things. You really do. And I just what do you mean? You're going to start testing all your friends that come to your house? Well, you can, but the first 3 days you don't show any symptoms. So really, you can test your ass away all you want. If they come in those first 3 days, it doesn't matter. Well, I don't worry about it as much. I had COVID and I got the shots. It's a little bit harder for me to get it, but it doesn't mean I won't. It means it'll just be a little harder. And I do still wash my hands. I spray my hands every time I come in and out of places. But the mask is hard to do when you work construction like I do. It's hard to wear a mask, especially. Right now it's 90 degrees down here, 100% humidity. Try breathing through masks when it's 100% humidity and see how you feel. It just sucks. It's just a hard thing to do. So, and we try to be safe around our customers and our friends, but it's tough. Oh, you've been probed, Mike.
People used to quarantine to 10, but you can still get symptoms after 10. It's more rare, but and if you want, there are ultraviolet lights you could buy, that will pretty much kill anything. It's just a light, and if you have a fan system going through it, they sell they're the UV lights. They're part of like other air filters, HEPA filters and things like that might have that feature. But that's a good way. Yeah. You know what I mean?
If you're a marijuana grower,
it really is. It's getting stronger. It's getting every time it mutates. You know what? The mutations happen, and they're going to happen all over across the board. And then you get to the point where the strong ones are going to survive. That's nature, So these mutations that are out there, the Delta and the Lambda, wow, these are super powerful, super transmissible. It used to be 1 in 3 that they would say if one person had it, they can spread it to 2 or 3 people. Now it's 1 in 7 for Delta. And then you'll see Lambda even more infectious, So it just doesn't seem like it's weakening.
And we don't know when it will. It may run a bunch. Most viruses usually wear themselves out after a while, but it takes time, and it could be a year, it could be 2 years, it could be 5 years, it could
take a long time. Yeah,
it could.
But people are saying
you can't count on that.
All these breakthrough infections, are becoming very common, and as these mutations grow, the vaccines that they have become less effective. But at least if you get the vaccine, you have a more of a percentage chance of not dying from COVID, supposedly. But then you get into the world of variables. To me, it's math, and it's hard to come up with that kind of math because you don't know if you're going to get COVID or not. If you get it, you don't know what it's going to do to you or not. But what if you get the shot and then something adverse happens from the shot? And you made the choice to get the shot. So there's a weird thing going on there. But they need to perfect it, and they're doing it. They're coming up with booster shots.
Yeah, but and a lot of people say the booster shot in the test subjects seemed to be harsher than the original 2 shots.
Because they didn't know what it was going to do. And unfortunately, they just announced today, I was reading all the articles from the Mayo Clinic about how that they're seeing it, the vaccines dissipate after 6 months. around the 6-month mark. That's kind of where we're at with the vaccines. I mean, think about it. It's July. A lot of people start getting their shot.
That's what the flu. They usually only last about 6 months.
Yeah, but they don't know if they can give you a booster shot so close, and that's what they're testing now to see what it's doing to people, and it's not working out well. So they're thinking of a booster shot. They're thinking of one, but there's going to be a gap, is what I'm saying.
Why don't we just do like the Chinese did? Because the Chinese seem not to have any COVID at all now. The Chinese went through spraying everything. We still have pictures of the original time. So we got, pictures of Wuhan when they were there, and then Beijing and all these other places. So they were going through people with these just sprayers, or actually foggers, which you call it. And they were fogging everything. And they were doing it every day. So they seem now they're fully opened up back now. But
but they don't care who they kill. They don't care if they kill their own people. They don't care what they spray. You know what I mean? They just want to solve the problem. Yeah. They don't care who they kill. And they lie. And there's huge outbreaks there right now. So they're keeping that out of the news, man.
Yeah, well, of course they are.
They lie.
They're not going to let you know any of that. And what's funny about it is the Chinese still wear masks even before COVID came out. It's just a thing. So do Japanese, for that matter. Chinese cities are very polluted. The air is very polluted, so they were already wearing masks.
It's horrible.
Before the COVID. So the mask really worked, and that might have been why China had it. But nobody's believing that China, what was it, 5,000, 25,000 deaths or something? Some really lot. It started in their country on September of the year before it got here. It was already out for 5 months in China before we actually found out about it. We, the people, I don't know what the government knew, but we, the people, were officially told in February. But it was already in our country since December, or probably since before that. And so now we got a real problem. I've been wondering why we haven't gone after China for reparations. So
because you got a president now who's weaker than baby poop.
No, that's not what it is. Well, he's friends with China, but that's not what it is. So what it is ass butt Fucci was paying the Chinese.
What it is, Joe?
Ass butt Fucci was paying the Chinese to develop these viruses. So this is what bothers me about COVID. So he was specifically paying them to develop COVID into a much more deadly disease. Okay, and then all of a sudden it's loose on the planet. Now we can say that, who owns the patent? Shit. So what it looks like is the U.S. might be just as guilty as China is. So I don't know how that's going to work out. This is my co-host, y'all. I want to introduce you. That's Fiona. She don't play around. She will bite you in the crotch and mess with you. Get out of here, Fiona. Go take something with yourself. But I mean, when it comes down to this virus, I mean, being more serious, it is a deadly virus. It's killing people all around the world. I mean, death toll was 4 or 5 million now. But it still bothers me that the death toll in the United States is 600,000, which surpassed cancer, not heart disease, but cancer. We're not counting cancer. So, I mean, how many of these people died from cancer? How many people died from kidney disease? How many of these people died from other things?
We're not trying to kill cancer. Well, we keep people alive for a short time, and then they get charged millions of dollars in some cases.
Yeah, well, that's
for their medical
technology was about, though. People forget this. So when we're talking about the COVID, especially when we're talking about Pfizer and Moderna, so what really was going on, it was to develop for another type of virus. Then somebody realized that it could be trained to target specific things. So they decided that, we can use this to hunt cancer cells. For some reason, they stopped developing it for that and decided to develop it for this. So I don't know why we just keep developing both, which kind of bothers me. But they said this, that the CRISPR technologies are different. Right. It's not like, it doesn't actually build you immunity like the Johnson & Johnson shot does. This actually hunts down COVID based on its shape. So when you see them little spikes on COVID, this is what it's hunting for. That's why they said as long as the variants keep this form, it'll go after it.
It's supposed to smother them, and when and kill the infection. But now with the new variants, it doesn't do that. It's slippery. Like, so in trying to cover it, it slips away, which is really interesting. They're
gonna have to figure this out, because originally they said as long as it stayed in its original shape, that it would always be hunted down. Now it might be harder now, but maybe it's still hunted. Nobody really knows, because it's hard to keep up with all the new variants coming in. It's hard to keep up with the research, because now they've quit chucking weekend numbers. They quit doing that altogether. There's a lot of things that are kind of gotten pushed to the wayside because they don't want to talk about it anymore. And Biden's in trouble. Biden, his whole campaign was on, I'm going to take care of COVID. So the economy sucks. Inflation is going up. Nobody's going back to work. And now all of a sudden he can't get anybody to take the shot and the disease is getting worse. Well, he's in a more precarious situation than Trump was when Trump lost. Janine, Trump might have won. I don't know until these 4 states have finished all this shit that's going on, we won't know. And like Michael and I said in the beginning of the show, even if he did, even let's say tomorrow, Arizona, Michigan, Pittsburgh, and I forgot the other state, all come out and say, yeah, we were wrong. Trump won these states. Okay, well, he's technically the president of the United States. But do you honestly think that Kamala and Biden's going to give up the power? I mean, really? You really think they're going to give up the power? I mean, what?
Nancy Pelosi, you mean? If Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer is already talking about legalizing weed for the whole country.
Yes, but he
announced that today.
But he put that in that $3.5 trillion bill, which seems to be unrealistic bill. I mean, does the White House have a money tree in the backyard that prints out $1 trillion bills or something?
They're printing money, that's for sure.
Let's be honest. So since COVID hit, we spent 1.5, 2.5, and 1.5. So we spent $5 trillion on COVID so far. The economy went down, which the GDP was at 3%, which we were making money. Now the GDP is back to 1.2, where it was under Obama, where we're not making money. So how are we paying for this? And, we're going to tax the rich. Well, you just tax the rich, don't do anything. It just screws us. The rich don't get taxed. They get taxed, they pass it to us. I mean, really. Put this in perspective.
Pass it on down.
When I started driving, gas was 44 cents a gallon, cigarettes was 35 cents a pack, and Cokes were 20 cents. Now, last time I bought a Coke today, I got me a sandwich and a Coke today. Freaking Coke was $2.30. I mean, really, and I was told today it's going to go up to probably $3. Gas is already at almost at $3 out here, which means it's $4 in other parts of the country because we got the cheapest gas anywhere on the planet. Well, not on the planet, but here. Well, no, guys, I misspoke that. We got the cheapest gas in the United States. Oh no, there's still places in the Middle East you can get a tank of gas. Yeah, they don't charge you about a gallon; they charge you about a tank, like $10 a tank.
Where? Where's that? I want to live there, wherever that is.
Oh, because they'll shoot your white ass.
And I'm gonna have a 100-gallon tank.
That'd be AK-47 in you, buddy. That'd be like, what do you mean rights for whites? Rights for whites. Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, you want to start the White Entertainment Network? Go ahead. It's legal. You can start the White Entertainment Network. I'm not.
They already got that. Those CBS, CNN, man, aren't they getting sued?
Wait a minute, it's going to be called WET. So BET is BET. You're going to be BET, Black Entertainment Network. That's BET. You're going to be WET. WET. It's going to sound stupid, man. It's the WET Network. Come on, give me a break.
You better have some porno on there.
You better have some lawyers. Is all I got to tell you.
Could be a little deceptive.
Lots of lawyers. No, you better have a lot of lawyers. Well, no, Joe Biden. If you look at the Democratic Party now, I didn't vote for either one. I'm a centralist. I'm a diehard centralist. So I like to be in the middle. But I hated on Trump on some stuff. I mean, Trump did some good stuff, but there's some stuff I was like, what are you on crack, dude? But still, he did some good stuff. Biden, though, for some reason, first off, he passed more executive orders than the last 4 presidents combined in his first 30 days. That's ridiculous. Then he's telling you he wants to do away with the filibuster. They want to do away with voter IDs and let you have as many. So in other words, without voter IDs, I can do a mail-in ballot like 30 times, just change your name on it. Yeah, everybody could. So it'd be easy to cheat and win. The most people who got the most cheated ballots would be winning. So that's just not going to work in this country. And we already know there was some hanky-banky business in this last election because Trump had already got more votes than any president before him. They gained 11 seats in the House. They only lost 1 seat in the Senate. And now, because of how crappy of a job the Democrats have been doing, California and New York are bleeding people left and right, and they're coming down south. So they lost 11 seats. So when the 22 election hits, they've lost 11 seats. So that means that Nancy's no longer in control. Before the election even starts, the day of the election, they gain those 11 seats. So they've already lost the House back. We haven't even gotten there yet, and they've lost that, not including whatever they win. The GOP can find themselves with a supermajority in the House, and all they need is 1 seat to really screw the Democrats, 2 to do whatever they want, and they will go after Biden. They've already said they're going to impeach Biden and Kamala.
The Democrats, they're hurting right now, man, because they're all that infighting. They're fighting with each other. They're not they're not united. They're not showing people they have united policy. They're all over the road, and then they're starting to blame each other. We're not even. It's just July, for God's sakes, and they're already fighting like this. You know, come on,
the
man.
Progressive, the liberals, and the communist liberals, like Bernie Sanders. He's a communist, man. You can say whatever you want, but he's a communist.
Commie Bernie.
I've always called it.
Yeah, but you know what? There's things he said that I liked. We've talked about that multiple times.
Not lately,
you know
man.
what I mean?
He's crackers. I've been listening to him lately.
Well,
he's crackers, man.
I haven't heard him lately.
He reminds me of Mr. Magoo. He does. He kind of looks like. I put some pictures up. He kind of looks like Mr. Magoo. Or you know who else he could look like is Gargamel. So anyway it goes. The guy is weird. The whole party is in some weird fantasy. You know, they want to be. So you know, when you look at their policies, so they want to listen on your phone calls. They want to look at your text. They want to do away with the filibuster so they can cheat. They want
Communism.
They want to add 10 seats to the Supreme Court so that they have a big, huge majority over everybody. The whole country, even the Democrats are like, what? None of it. When they poll Democrats, they don't want to get rid of filibuster because they know last time this happened was when the Democrats changed the law. I don't know if y'all remember this. Under Obama, they changed the law from a supermajority to just a simple majority. So before they changed it, you have to have 60 votes to win anything in the House. In the Senate. Now all you got to have is 51 votes. Some things you still got to have 60, but a lot of things you can get away with 51 votes. Well, they've used that a lot, but guess what? When the GOP won, guess what they used? The 51 votes. How do you think they got so many Supreme Court justices? And that was because of the Democrats. If the Democrats would have held their 60 majority like they were supposed to, they wouldn't have got all these crazy people in the courts. But they wanted to cheat. So that's why they're so worried about the filibuster because, as Trump pointed out to them, and since Obama's second term, the Democrats have used a filibuster 851 times. And you think you should get rid of that? Really? 800? Right. I'm not shitting you guys. You can check the numbers for yourself. 851 times. And that's why Biden is like, no, we don't need to get rid of that. People, we may need that if Trump comes back or if Santos comes in and wins, because it's not looking like they're gonna. It looks like they're gonna lose a lot in 2022, and it looks like 2024 they're not gonna maintain the presidency. So they're gonna end up turning over the House, the Senate, and the presidency back to the GOP. Do you want to give them a non-filibuster? I mean, they'll have a field day with y'all. They'll have all kinds. They'll get rid of all your laws and all your bills, Democrats, and then they'll start putting all kinds of stuff. You think voter ID shit's tough now? Get away with the filibuster and let them take control. They'll crack down the country like you've never seen before. It's a bad idea, people. The Founding Fathers put certain rules in effect so you could not cheat to make it fair for everyone. Why do you think we have the damn electoral college? Because if we didn't, we'd never have a Republican president. We'd always have a blue president. We may not always have a blue House and Senate, but we'd always have a blue presidents because of New York and California. Right. Even though both of them are losing numbers this year. Yeah, they're going down this year. Florida's actually bigger than New York. Has been for a while now, but Florida's gaining some more electoral votes, and so is Texas. Within probably 10 years, Texas will either be even with Florida or bigger than Florida. I mean, California, they're already bigger than Florida. So you may end up finding that they may lose that supermajority to the South. It's a dangerous thing for them because the South always votes red.
Texas is going blue, man.
Yeah, Texas ain't never going blue. I love what the governor said. He said, if you're blue and you want to come here, you can go to Houston or you can go to Austin. You're not welcome anywhere else in our state. And when you got, 28, 29, almost 30 million people, and most of them are reds, you're going to have a hard time changing anything. It's funny, though. You can get like Louisiana. It's a mostly red state. But from time to time, like the governor right now is a blue governor, but the whole entire House and Senate is red. But I like that better because we get more balanced stuff. You know, we don't get crazy one side, crazy other side. We get a more balanced party. But for some reason, the Democrats and the Republicans have forgotten that. And we really need an independent party. We need a centralist party. We don't need an independent party. Because the independents don't stand for anything. They're just, flip-flop around. Centralists would definitely be in the middle. They would say, look, and it would work better. So you'd have the central party, let them control and let the left and right, help them out when they need to be. So, some things the centralists would have to go to the red. Some things would have to go to the blues. What do you mean they're going to outlaw abortion? It's possible. It's not possible under the Blues, but it is possible under the Reds. It almost happened under Trump. Yeah, if it would have made it back to the Supreme Court, if Roe versus Wade would have got reappealed back to the Supreme Court, it would have got overturned. So that's why the courts are, you need the lower courts. You need a balance. Well, no, the Supreme Court's not balanced right now. It's 6-3. But it's meant to be off by at least one. The GOP got lucky and got 3 new seats, and they got 6. What's her name was trying to hang on, but she just couldn't do it.
Well, what did they fight for? What do they fight for? What do they do, man? The Democrats. I don't understand. It's always like something terrible, and it's not about people's rights.
So let's look at their party. So they voted against freeing the slaves. They started the Jim Crow laws. They invented the Ku Klux Klan. Now they want to monitor your texts, monitor your phone calls. Let's see. They want to get away with ID so they can vote as much as they want. I mean, they are like the Communist Party now. They look like they've been for about 4 decades now. And for some reason, they're not all like that, because that's the problem with them right now. The progressives are communists. That's what they are. I mean, they're hardcore communists. People like Bernie Sanders, he's a communist. That's what he is. He can't even defend. I'm a socialist. No, you're a communist, dude.
Socialist / communist.
Yeah, he's a communist because
that's what they want. They want total control. Communism is total control, where you let the government tell you what to do all the time. You have no say. And like Soviet Union, you didn't even choose your job. They told what you were going to do. Factory worker, or are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? You know what I mean?
A good Democrat, a lawmaker,
and they have total control.
He was telling me the reason they want to change is they see China has success. China is a communist country, but it's not like people think. It's only communist from the upper echelon up. The bottom, the governors and mayors and all that, that's a whole different thing. So the people have some freedom in China, but the market. But now, because of COVID, people are back to not buying Chinese products again. So their GDP is less than 1%. I think it's like 8.
People with money have freedom in China.
Yeah, and that's true. And that's true.
Most Chinese don't have money. They're broke.
And somebody said, well, if they start a war, they outnumber us 4-1. Yeah, but that don't mean anything. They can't arm all of them. And they're not even going to feed them. If the United States starts cutting off their food lines, they're done. What are you going to do? China don't mostly.
No, it has nothing to do with us. It would. You don't think that India would dive in? They're dying to, man. Yeah, as much as Israel's dying to go destroy Iran, oh man, India wants to go into China, and then we're giving them the weapons to do it. Man.
Selling. Japan conquered China twice. Little bitty Japan, and you know how they did it? By trading both rice.
Imperialism.
They would people. They cut off all the lines of food to their country. So when everybody was starving. So when they came on shore, they went ahead and was giving them food for their guns. They didn't have to kill them. They were turning themselves in. They were turning their guns for food because they were starving. The Japanese were smart. The Japanese were killing them anyway, but the Japanese were smart. They figured out a way to do it. The U.S., the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut all of the resources off. China is not like the U.S. It's not a resource-rich country. It doesn't have. That's why they were building all those empty buildings, because they were trying to stockpile resources. The U.S. has a lot of resources at its hand that are inside the country itself, including fuel. But they don't. They have to rely. They'll have to rely on Russia for their fuel, and Russia, may do it for a while, but Russia's got to be careful because Russia's not really looking to get into a war, even with China. They don't.
Russians hate Chinese, man. They have a huge problem with one another.
Yeah, they just don't trust them. So if China was to start a war with the U.S. and Europe, which would be way overwhelming for China, they would need Putin to step in. And Putin might, but Putin's not going to trust that China's not going to turn around and attack them while they got all their forces spread out. So, once Russia commits to a war, all of its ships and a lot of its military will be away from home. Well, their borders are there. China could just sweep over their country. And China needs Russia. They need the food and the land and the resources. China's, forest rich, oil rich, uranium rich. So there's a lot of things they could get from there. So I don't think Putin trusts China enough to just open their doors fully like that. So, and starting the war with the United States is risky business. We still have 10,000 nukes. Whatever you want to think about us, we still have 10,000 nukes. And we got nukes in the Air Force. We got nukes in the Navy. Somebody the other day said the Navy's not, surface fleet isn't war ready. Boy, some admiral come unglued on his ass. He said, really? And he said, you have seen us lately flying up through the Chinese fleets, right? Not even being seen. What do you mean we're not war ready? He said, do you know we've been fighting for like the last 50 years? He said, what is wrong with you people? He said, the U.S. has got the most trained military of anybody in the world because we've been at war since, well, pretty much since World War II. We went to World War II, then to Korea, then to Vietnam. Oh, we took a little vacation, and then we went into Desert Storm, and then we've been in Afghanistan and Iraq for 20 years. We're a war-ready country, and we know what it is to be at war. We know what it is to sacrifice, and we know what it is to conquer. And pissing us off is just like the Japanese emperor, Japanese admiral told the Japanese emperor, it was stupid to wake the sleeping giant. And when he did, they paid for it eventually. Because once we get in war mode, it's over with. We're not going to stop, man. We're just going to be rolling on and rolling on. You will have to nuke us. And there's another problem with China and America. We can't nuke each other because we share trade winds. So if you nuke China, guess what? It's going to fall over in the United States. And if you nuke the United States, it's going to fall over in China. And part of Russia and part of Europe as well. So, and then you got to take in Europe. China just thinks Europe's going to sit there. Europe's not going to sit there after the United States go to war. They're going to go to war. Especially England and Germany. They're going to be like, what? Oh, yeah, we get to go kick some ass. It's just a dangerous game to play with us. Even the Aussies are wanting to get into it, the Chinese right now. They kicked them out their country. They said, oh, that trade deal, China, the Aussies just basically gave them the finger and said, get out of our country. So has most of the South American countries have now too. They've kicked them out. At one point, China was all over South America, and America had a fit about it, so they've been getting kicked out steady. You notice we didn't let Russia or China bring in troops to Venezuela or Cuba. We're like, no, what are you, crazy? We will blow the shit off the face of the planet. And we're at a point now, we were where we were as a nation at 9/11, which bothers me, which suggests to me something else crazy is going to happen. Because 9/11 united the country. It was a divided country, and then all of a sudden it was a united country. Well, we're right back to being a divided country again 20 years later. So it's going to take something strong to, put us back together. What's that, Michael? Alien invasion? Well, that would work too. I mean, Reagan talked about that all the time. Reagan, on 7 occasions, gave speeches what would happen if there was an alien invasion. We'd all become friends overnight. Then he instituted Pine Gap in Queensland, which is the joint British defense of outer space, by the way. He instituted the Hawk facility and Star Wars. He invented 3 programs that could defend space. Yeah, he must have known something. I don't know what it was, but he must have known something. He's just been crazy. But the Congress wasn't. There's a lot of money to spend on this stuff. All 3 programs are still intact. Yeah, they didn't go anywhere. Pine Gap is the joint British defense of outer space. I don't know what we got up there and how we defended it, but that's what they're there for. The Hawk facility's been punching holes in our ionosphere for 20 years now. We don't even know why. We don't know where it's going, where those beams are going. We don't know what the hell's going on with that. And Star Wars lasers. See, I always thought Star Wars lasers were designed to take out missiles until I actually seen one in action. Oh, man, these things were huge. These things, I don't know what kind of missiles they were planning on shooting with these things. These things are more for like sweeping across cities and just burning them to the ground. And then the United States got crazy and invented the neutron bomb, which doesn't blow up anything but just spreads out radiation. In 2 years, it's gone. After 2 years, all the radiation's gone and everything's left intact. It doesn't even cause an EMP pulse. So it doesn't even destroy the electronics. So after 2 years, the plants start growing back. You can go back and start using electronics. You can take the buildings over. Man, that's just scary shit there. That's weapons that's thinking ahead. I mean, look at China. We could hit them with about 75 of them. Most of China would be dead in just a couple of hours. It's just China's only got like 400 nukes. And I'm not even sure half of them are even going to get off the ground. It's like Russia was doing ground testing just a couple of months ago. Almost all but one of them blew up on the pad. And the one that made it in space, they had to actually destroy because it went stupid on them. Well, it's like anything. If you let it sit too long, you're going to have issues with it. That's why the U.S. rotates its arsenal. Yeah, we rotate our arsenal on a regular basis, and we do test our missiles on a regular basis. And then we have submarines full of them. We've got, I think, 50 subs out there right now carrying. Most of them carry about 24 missiles. Each one carries from anywhere from 8 to 30 missiles, warheads per missile. So you don't know what that does. So it comes over Moscow, and then it fans out 30 warheads. Well, 4 of them will go hit Moscow. The other 26 are going to go to 26 other targets. That's one missile. And you can't get our submarines. Even Russia can't track our submarines. So if they start popping up on your coast before you know they're there, like we've done this to China twice now. Ronald Reagan was the first president that did it. I forgot who was in charge at the time. Pissed him off. We brought up 4 subs on 2 sides, on 4 different sides. I said, "Yeah, you want to die?" China calmed down. Just recently, Trump did it. Trump sent out 3 of them. They just popped up. China didn't even know they were there. By the time China would have seen them, we'd already wiped out most of that country. So, and then twice we've sent ships inside their fleets, and they didn't even know they were there.
Oh,
So
God.
and then we got the Zimwalt destroyer now that can sit 24 miles away from a ship and cut it in half like it's butter. The Americans are serious.
No. My favorite was when the pilot from Israel, who took one of our new Raptors, flew all the way through Iran, man, targeted all of their nuclear sites, or what they want as nuclear sites, all their chemical sites, everything, and was out of there. Iran didn't even know. And when the guy announced it, they were like, "Oh, no, you can't do that," or whatever. That's got to show you the technology. And that was Russian. It was Russian radar systems and Russian anti-missile systems. Raptor flew right past all of them like it was nothing.
Oh, we showed in Iran that Russia's technology, just because they bought the state-of-the-art technology, and we didn't even know where we were most of the time. It's that's the problem, people. The America's very slick, and I'm not saying we won't all die when it all happens, but look, playing around with this is diddly. Even with Biden, you start pissing Biden off because he's crazy. Right now, he's like, but you start pissing him off, there's no telling what he's going to do. And he might just accidentally and have a slip and hit the red button, and boom, there went Russia. And don't think Russia's just going to sit there if we nuke them, because they're going to send some nukes back. Well, maybe. Depends how our missile defense system's working. Trump was putting it back together. Bush was putting a hell of a system together where we had a 3-tier missile defense system in the United States and a 3-tier laser system in the United States. One laser was space-based, one was ground-based, and one sits on a 727. We gave one of these our allies. They just fly in a figure 8 over the country all the time. And any missiles, they can take out I think it's 2,600 targets or 3,600 targets per 5 minutes. So I don't even think Russia can put up that many missiles at one time. The missiles we have to worry about are more like tactical nukes that are on cruise missiles and something coming from submarines. Now, we got the wolf pack out there always hunting everybody's submarines, but that don't mean we might miss one, or one might not get away. And then certain states and certain cities actually have their own missile defense system, which most people don't know this. I hope I'm not breaking a clearance here. DC has several places where they have missile targeting systems. They have them on top of buildings. They got them out in the woods. There's a couple of places you can drive down the highways, like the old style forts. All of a sudden, you'll see a missile silo sitting there, or you'll see a missile thing there with 2 missiles sitting on it. Yeah, it's just out there for everybody to see. So they want you to know that we will nuke your ass, or we will blow up your missiles when they're coming in. So, but nobody wants to go there. I don't want to see any more wars. I'm tired of it. We don't need it. We need to go back to being normal, everyday people and just go ahead. But we're just not going to sit there and take it. And unfortunately, when it comes to Biden, I think his family has an interest in China.
Oh, of course you do. Hell yeah. There are 5 Bidens. There are millionaires from his dirty dealings.
It's let's see. I did see that, Christopher. The price of lumber is coming down quite considerably. They said it should be fairly good in the next few weeks.
What do you think about Hunter's artwork, man?
I haven't seen any. I don't think I want to see any, to be honest with you.
The gallery in the city where he's featuring his artwork was vandalized, and somebody went in there and spray painted a whole bunch of his art. Wasn't damaged, thank God. But the other people's art was they sprayed on some painting. But isn't that a good way to launder money? Let's say that you want to make dirty money clean. You have to be able to make it taxable. So, like the club business was perfect for that. Music business, they'd make people famous and put millions of dollars of dirty money into their careers when they were nobodies, right? Yeah. So, same thing for art. I come up with some BS painting, you come and buy it. That's a legal sale, and that money becomes legal. Right.
Well, I heard the head of the FBI talking about this the other day. I think he kind of alluded to he thinks that Biden broke the law, but it's not going to matter right now because they have the House and the Senate. You're not going to be able to impeach him.
They're not going to do anything.
Well, they might in 2022. But they're not going
not to him.
He'll get impeached any way it goes. The GOP is going to impeach him in 2022. But if they don't have a 2/3 majority, it's not going to matter. It'll just be like Trump. He'll be impeached and nothing will happen. Biden's still not budging on filibuster. Yeah, we've seen that. Get out. 9/11 calls captured chaos and fear after Condo collapses. I was surprised they found some people alive the other day.
Yeah.
That was freaky. It does show you can survive these, but it's freaky. Now, let's talk a little bit about this building. There's a lot of rumors floating around. There's a rumor that Epstein had an apartment there. There's a rumor that McAfee had an apartment there. A couple other people had those rumored to have apartments there. So I've been waiting for some correspondence on whether it's real or not. So the McAfee thing has been verified. It was verified to me this afternoon, so I know that he was there. He said there was actually evidence there of what was going on in his life. And in case y'all didn't know, McAfee committed suicide. At least that was the official thing. But he had a suicide switch, so he couldn't actually commit suicide. Somebody had to kill him. And the government down there is not saying who it was or what it was. Of course not. Probably was Hillary related, that evil bitch. Hillary is just evil, man. I mean, the woman is evil. What do you mean? Who else was in there? There was a lot of so-called connected people that were in that building. And it's not that they all died. A lot of them weren't there when it collapsed, but all their documentation and everything else was destroyed.
Now, let me tell you what caused that collapse. What was people ignoring it, people not wanting to spend the money, the housing that their association there, which ignored all of the workers that came in and said, listen, you got a serious problem. They ignored it. They turned a blind eye, and that's greed and that's laziness. And look what happened, man. Boom.
It happened. It happened.
You're a contractor. You know how things go. Once that rebar rusts.
What bothered me the most was they were doing that pile driving next door, and they didn't do any reinforcement to this condo.
Right.
When big buildings like that, you're supposed to actually put in reinforcement. It comes kind of shock absorber. And even when you're driving, there's a way you can absorb the shock from having it from transferring the buildings. We learned this through 9/11 because 9/11 was a very interesting thing. I mean, there's lots of conspiracy theories about a 9/11, and we'll do a show on the future and cross all the conspiracy theories. But what people didn't know is all 7 buildings were connected underneath. You could actually walk from one building to the other building to the other building. And all the piers for each building were loaded there. Well, people didn't realize when the 2 towers came down, the concussion wave they caused, you can actually see it. So if you go back and look at the video, you can actually see the ground lifting up across the building. It caused a concussion wave that actually took out the pylons of the other buildings. That's why they came straight down.
Yeah.
Now, there was thermite found in some of them, but not enough in a high enough form to suggest that it was destroyed by that. And then there's the other problem. All these buildings were occupied. So the drilling and stuff it would have took to really bring down a building that size through that matter would have been very interesting. Most people would have caught that.
The conspiracy theorists point to the pools of metal in the base of the buildings, because it was so hot, what burned, and the jet fuel doesn't burn all that hot, But the problem is, one of my sisters is an architect, and we had this conversation about the Florida building, about the friction of when concrete collapses or other materials collapse. And as that's going down, those things are collapsing, man. It's unbelievable heat, incredible heat, enough to melt metal and enough to do those things. So, yeah. But do I think that Bush knew about the attacks before they happened? Yeah. Absolutely, because I remember when Donald Rumsfeld told the story about Condoleezza Rice meeting with George Tenet and and Laughing Boy there, who just with Mr. FBI, they were the head of the FBI and CIA, and they went to Condoleezza Rice and they said, hey, we got this information about Al Qaeda using planes against buildings. She said the information wasn't viable.
That was actually under Obama. That's
right.
Who actually got the first.
No. This was Bush. This was still Bush, man.
No, I mean Clinton. This what I'm talking about.
No. The conversation happened with Condoleezza Rice. So she said she didn't recollect the conversation.
This was before him. So everybody knows the truth. What went on here? While Clinton was still president, he divided the 3 agencies so they couldn't talk to each other. He's the one that split the agencies up. And on top of that, he had been warned because don't forget, they tried to blow the towers up before this when they parked the truck underneath this. See, everybody wants to forget that. But they had already damaged these buildings. They had parked a semi up there. They tried to do like the boys did when they blew the facade off that building in Oklahoma. But they parked this truck in there and it didn't do anything. It blew up, but the building stayed intact. Well, at that point, they had told Clinton, You need to let the agencies talk because there is rumors that they will try an aircraft attack. So he already knew about this 8 months before that actually happened. Don't forget, people, Bush had only been president 4 months when this happened. That's it. It's not like he'd been in for 2 years or 3 years. He only been in president for 4 months. And because of this is when he decided to reignite the organization. So, okay, y'all need to start talking to each other because this is bullshit. Somebody should know. Somebody should have warned me ahead of time of what was going on. So,
believe it or not, man, they don't share. You know what? Before Bush, before Homeland Security, anyway, yeah, those agencies, they stopped sharing information probably back in the early '60s or late '50s. I mean, they didn't trust each other, and there was reasons why they didn't trust each other. So much like police agencies, sheriff's department, the state police, and then local levels, they don't talk to each other. You'll find that miscommunication or ill communication between them. But yeah, it's good to have the hub so they can share information. Unfortunately, much of the time when they do that, it ruins an investigation because then things get leaked out.
Yeah, because things does get leaked. Well, they were talking about one of the committees after 9/11 were talking about going back and trying to go after Clinton. Well, there's no way. Even just because he knew he had been warned that there might be, and that's the problem. So you go to the president and you say, yeah, there might be an airplane attack on the towers. Might. Well, you got to use stronger language. If you want a president to get active, you got to use more than might. You got to say, we got evidence that these people are inside the country, that they came in through Canada and they're inside our country, and we need to do this. Well, the FBI knew it. They went and told him this, but when he talked to the CIA and the NSA, they were like, no, we don't have no evidence of that. And so they just kind of flaked it off. Bush got in. He got his original briefing, which suggested he had been told the same thing, but he was also told the same way, might. So it kind of went to, well, we don't know for sure. We can't really take action on something, and we don't know what buildings. That's the other problem with nobody knew exactly what buildings they were talking about because a lot of them said it was going to be attack on D.C. Some people said it was going to be attack on Chicago. Some people said it was going to be attack in L.A. Then a lot of people said it's going to be attack like over the Super Bowl where they crash a plane into the Super Bowl or something like that. And it turned out to be attack on the Twin Towers. No, Chris, JP4 doesn't burn hot enough to bring down the towers. No, I'm sorry. JP4, I believe, burns at 800 degrees Fahrenheit. The metal's got to be at 2,400 degrees to melt the way it did. And as far as I know, no jet fuel burns that hot. Not unless there's some stuff out there I've never. I used to work with this stuff. It's not unless as a plane cap doesn't charge all aspects of the plane. Missiles.
No, the heat came from the friction, of the collapse. Yeah, you're talking about an unbelievable amount of energy.
See that, and most people don't realize. Do you ever wonder why, ladies and gentlemen, you see a guy out when you see a small building being torn down, you see a guy out there with a fire hose spraying on it? Because the friction from the building come down can cause a fire. It superheats everything and it can cause a fire. And that's exactly what happened. You had tons and tons of material falling straight down. And I know everybody said, oh, it went straight down. It had to be a bomb. No, just because it went straight down. In order to bring it to implode a building the size of these, I'm not kidding you. Y'all would have had to drill every main support from top to bottom. There's no way you could have done that without somebody knowing. It would have been too much noisy, too much dirt, too much dust. In one section, I do agree, there was one section of one of the buildings that were cordoned off for remodeling, but not the other one. And it was just a video taken of one of the buildings complete from top to bottom just before this inspection had just been done, and they found nothing. So it doesn't sound conducive to that. Now, it's not to say there wasn't somebody out underneath there planting stuff on the pylons. We don't know because none of that's been recovered. And there is things like one of the vaults had how much gold in it? $500 million or something. It had a lot. I never heard if that was even recovered. There was a lot of stuff that got destroyed. A lot of documentation. A lot of money went missing. There's a lot of stuff that just went missing. Oh hell, they got one guy because he was taking a Rolex watch off one of the dead people and it was a fireman and putting it on his arm. Yeah, that was kind of cheesy, but I just kind of feel sorry for the people who died. And there was almost 4,000 people. It seems like this could have been preventable. I'm surprised.
I have friends, man. I lost 3 friends.
Defense shield there, and even if they did, I don't think they would have fired. Oh, now I'll take this. We'll go there since you went there. The third plane, not the one that went into the Pentagon, not the first 2. The one that was flying over Pittsburgh was shot down by an F-16. There was witnesses to it, and you could tell. And this is an easy thing to tell. Okay, first off, there was actually people on the phone when this went on. And the guy said, there's somebody approaching on the side of us, and the guy's actually talking about the plane. But the plane came down in 2 pieces. Well, what it looked like a missile hit like the midsection and just blew the tail off, and it just nosedived. The tail came down in one place, the other part of the plane came down in the other place, which
But there's
suggested
other pieces that were scattered for a couple miles, man. It was like all over.
it
Little
suggested that it
pieces.
was shot down.
Oh, it was shot down for sure. Well, they target the gas tanks, right? I mean, right?
Yeah,
The
they'll either
engines.
they'll target the tanks or right behind the wing section to knock off the tail. Either way, it was going down, and it depends what they were using too. It could have been silent, could have been anything for that matter. But yeah, they agree that was shot down. The government didn't want to fuss up and say they shot down one of our own planes because it would have looked bad on them, and it did go down. According to the story, now the official story is that some of the people in there overtook the people who had the razor knives, which were box cutters, by the way, and broke into the cabin and crashed the plane.
Right.
Okay, they didn't kill the pilot, so why wouldn't you just let the pilot fly the plane again? I'm confused.
If
By
the
that
plane
whole,
crashed into the ground, it would all be just right in one piece altogether.
yeah, it would have been
Just
right
one
there in
big
one area.
mess.
Yeah. This plane
Yeah, it
came
would have
down. The
been
tail
just
came down way behind it. Then part of the other part got blown in pieces that scattered over a couple of farms, and then the other part, the front part, came down in one area. So it suggests it was shot down. I mean, if you go by the pattern itself, it was something that seared it off. Now, one guy said, "Oh, maybe the plane did some kind of severe flip, and it made the wing section break off, the tail section." I'm not buying it. I've seen planes do a lot of things, including commercial airliners. It just doesn't. It's not conducive to what happened. So we shot that plane down, and a lot of people kept telling me the one in the Pentagon was a missile. Well, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I know it wasn't a missile for three reasons. One, we had friends there that were working the debris pickup, and they were sending home pictures of body parts, legs, arms, pieces of this, pieces of that. So if it was a missile, it had a lot of people stuffed in it. On top of that, and most people didn't catch this, but there was two videos of this. There was one in the parking lot where the plane came over the parking lot. But believe it or not, where you stop to get your ticket to pay your car, the little arm that lifts up, there was a camera on it. It got a clear picture of the jet as it went by. That's how low the jet was when it hit. It actually went right over the top of this thing. It was a great picture of it. So it was hard to say at that point. But it was a fairly empty plane. They said that in the beginning. There was only a handful of passengers on it. But it was kind of funny that it did. It must have been carrying a lot of fuel because it was kind of – and so y'all notice, ladies and gentlemen, jets don't go around loaded down with fuel unless they're going on long trips. The reason why is the weight. It's extra weight. It makes them burn more fuel. It makes them fly at slower speeds. So a lot of times the tanks will be half empty and stuff. If they're knowing they're going like from New York to Chicago, that plane's not going to be carrying that much fuel. It's going to carry an hour. I think they're supposed to carry 2 hours more than whatever their destination is. But they don't have to carry a full load because it makes the plane quite a bit heavier. Fuel weighs a lot. And in this case, obviously they didn't have that much fuel in it. But the whole thing stank all the way around. I mean, whether you believe whether you believe it was terrorist, whether you believe we knew it was terrorist, whatever it was, it really sucked for America. And then we used that to go destroy not one country, but two. So we went and tore Iraq up again, and we went and tore Afghanistan up again just because we thought they had something to do with it. And in the end, we found out they didn't. But I did like the ones who said, "Oh, well, there was no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq." I couldn't even believe anybody said that to me. First off, Iraq had a lot of chemical weapons, which are considered weapons of mass destruction. On top of that, Saddam himself was a weapon of mass destruction. He killed how many Iranians? 7 million? Yeah, that's a weapon of mass destruction any way you look at it. He just killed 5,000 Americans. That's a weapon of mass destruction any way you look at it. So, personally, I didn't agree with going to spend all that. I'm going to tell you what both those wars were about. That was to show the rest of the world we will kick your ass if you piss us off. We do have the technology to roll over anybody else's technology. China had stuff there. Russia had stuff there, and it didn't even phase us. Didn't slow us down. We just ran through it like it was nothing. Iraq found the same thing. When Desert Storm started, Iraq had the third largest military in the world. It was actually bigger than ours at the time. They had almost 1.6 million man standing army. And they had all kind of Russian tanks. They had all kind of air to surface missiles. They had Russia's number one air defense system. And it was gone. We took it out. It took less than 6 months before they started surrendering to us because we were whipping their asses so bad. It's just, and I kind of felt bad that we went over there and did that because really, Iraq it would be like, Michael with his big ass self going to pick on this little 2-foot guy. Michael's 6'5", in case y'all know, guys. So it'd be like him stomping on some little 3-foot guys. I mean, it wasn't a fair fight.
If he pissed me off, man.
But I mean, it just wasn't going to be a fair fight.
Well, if the 3-foot guy's got like an axe or something, man.
Yeah, that's different, Kimberly, I'm not against the fact that the Twin Towers could have been a conspiracy. I don't know. I can only go by the evidence we have at hand, and the evidence at hand doesn't suggest that there was that it was. Well, there's a lot of rumors about all kind of stuff. The thermite was the biggest one, but the debris that was hauled off had very little thermite in it. There were several investigations, including private investigations. They just couldn't find. It was funny that they found any. Let's be honest about that. We don't know why they found any, but there wasn't enough to suggest implosion. So if you go to an imploded building and you find that it's going to be X amount of parts per million, there just wasn't there in these buildings, in any of the buildings. So we don't exactly know what went down on there. And you don't have to use, there's other ways of bringing it. You could use dynamite or anything. There's lots of implosion. You could use plastic for that matter. But but all of them would have gave off the same thing. So this is what you would have seen. You would have seen boom, 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 boom. You wouldn't have seen whoosh. That's not how it would have happened. It would have had to be breaking pieces as it went up or down, either way. You didn't see that. None of that went on. You didn't see a bunch of secondary and third explosions after the planes hit them. In the first one, it just looked like the first plane just surely looked like it took out enough of the building that it shifted the weight and the building came down on its own. The other one was a little different, but still. And it was weird for me because somebody had called me and told me, did you see a plane just flew into the building? Everybody thought at first it was an accident. So I'm driving home to go watch what it is. As soon as I walk in the door, I'm on the phone with a friend of mine as the second one flies into the building. I'm like, look at this shit. This is an act of war for sure.
You're up that early in the morning? Come on.
Yeah,
Come on,
I was
man.
actually at work, man. I was actually on a job site when they called me, and I was like, what?
Come on, man.
It was crazy. That whole thing was crazy. My son was sitting next to me when it happened. It was just freaky weird, kind of strange kind of stuff. But Gremlins, whoever wrote that to me, I don't rule out that.
Gremlins.
Yeah, that's his nickname. I don't rule out. I don't rule out that it could have been some kind of conspiracy. I don't. But I need evidence. You gotta remember, guys, I got a bachelor's degree in science. I need proof. Okay, I need proof. Yes, I need proof. Yes, I do. And so I'm not really against that it could have been some kind of conspiracy. It's this, that, one, or other could have done it, but I don't really see in America's best interest would have been served here by doing this. Now, yeah, if we wanted to go start a war, but we didn't need to blow up a building to go start a war. We had lots of reasons to go to the Middle East. There was lots of reasons to go there besides this. If you wanted to get the people behind you, yeah, I guess this would have been a way to get the people behind you, but it really didn't. It kind of divided the people up.
They got their Patriot Act.
Yeah, they got their Patriot Act, but it's gone now. They had it for a while, but it's gone now. Now I hear the Democrats are trying to take Joe Biden's war stuff away since he brought everybody from Afghanistan back. By the way, Democrats and Republicans are pissed about Afghanistan. So we just handed over all that lithium and all that gold to China. I'm not sure why we did that.
Because that's what we do. We find a fortune and we hand it over. I mean, look at Hong Kong. It wasn't us. I mean, that was England, but still, man, they developed this amazing place. You know, people had rights and all kinds of whatever. Boom, hand it to China. China took that money and they used it for nothing but evil. Right?
So
that's what got them in the game.
Michael,
right? That's when they built.
Michelle,
that's when they built the skyscrapers, man.
Yeah, they did. Well, Michelle, if China goes after Taiwan, it may start a war. It may start World War III. I don't. The U.S. We don't have technically we don't have a protectorate pact with them because we don't recognize them as an independent country. But I'm not sure.
I don't know. As per our Constitution, they say that we do have to protect them. So we shall see.
We've given them things like Aegis cruisers and missile defense shields. So we might consider an act of war on our sovereignty. So we'll have to see what happens. Hong Kong's different. We can't go after Hong Kong because Hong Kong was never ours. It was the Brits. Now, if the Brits want to go over there and take it back, we'll probably back them. But we're not going to go start a war over Hong Kong. Because technically it is China. Remember, the Brits technically leased it for 100 years. It was a bad deal. It should have been a 1,000-year lease. But the Brits should have said, and originally the Brits said, look, we'll give it back, but you got to guarantee these rights. And for a while, China did. But now China's had it long enough, they figure it needs to go back and follow under China rule. And so they've been arresting people left and right. Anybody who speaks out has been going to jail. China's a communist country. That's how it works.
Body parts, man, killing people for their body parts, right?
Yeah, it's a big thing over there.
Organs, kidneys,
By the
heart
way, Mike was quite
transplants.
right about that. Not just in their
So
own country. They harvest body
they're
parts for
killing.
their rich and famous, but also for our rich and famous and other rich and famous. Oh, yeah, they harvest body parts all the time over there. And there's lotteries where
Oh,
you
yeah.
can actually go make money. So if it's a part like an eye where you can give
Yep.
one away or a kidney or things like that, they actually have a lottery. You can make. So if you're a poor guy who's living in shithole Xing Wang Wang and has nothing, and you go donate a kidney, they might give you 100 G's. And then all of a sudden, you're now a rich man in China. So they do that kind of stuff.
Well,
and technically it's
the
illegal.
government will just
but-
take him and kill them. The government will take him and kill him and sell his organs. That's what they do, man. And the government gets to keep all the money. So they don't care who they kill. They really don't care. You know, it's just such a corrupt, horrible existence for people there.
Yeah, well, it's 1,400,000,000 people. China, I think India's at 1,300,000,000, 1,200,000,000. So whatever.
India's crossing China this year. They're on record of crossing, man. So
Yeah,
India's going to have more people than China.
Well, right now, China's military is a little
How's that
bit
worked
up
out
on
for them?
India's. Well, I don't know. Now they get all these people dying of COVID, it might go back down. No, India's military is not quite up to par with China's yet, but it's getting there. But the U.S. has problems with giving India too much technology because India likes to deal with the Russians a lot. So some of their
India
planes are
is
Russian, and some of their
India's
ships are Russian
cramped.
tanks. Yeah, so
That
it's a
place
little
is
weird.
cramped.
We're not really. We don't like giving them advanced missile defense systems and like that because we learned with Turkey you got to be careful. Now we got all pissed about Turkey getting this advanced missile defense shield from Russia. What's the first thing we did now that Turkey's back behaving? We went send some guys over there to go look it all over. So yeah, that's got to piss Russia right the hell off. But we told Turkey we'll kick you out of NATO if you don't, and they don't want to be out of NATO. They want to be a NATO country. They're like, no, we want to stay in NATO. We don't want to get kicked out. So we went over there and took a look at all that stuff. But don't think they don't get their hands on our planes and shit like that. Stuff we give to other countries right now, Taliban's got a couple of our tanks. They got a couple of our planes. Nothing really advanced, but they still got them. I mean, it's not like Raptors and F-35s or anything. But
They took a bunch of our stuff.
don't think that the F-16s we got out there are shit anymore. We just remodeled all of them, all the F-14s, all the F-15s. A lot of them planes got remodels, but they're still badass.
And the Taliban, a lot of them aren't well versed in technology. They barely know how to pull a trigger. Let's say that. These are very underdeveloped people. You know what I mean? Which is why they follow the Taliban. So
I know we're taking it's like Ho Chi Minh City when we were evacuating Vietnam. We took a lot of the people who were on our side, but we're doing the same thing in Afghanistan. A lot of the people who served with America and helped America are now being brought to America. Well, if not, they're going to be killed. The Taliban's going to kill them. Well, they were just talking about the other day, 20 Afghans turned themselves into the Taliban when they were taking a border post from Pakistan, and they shot them and killed them. They don't have any.
It was Obama who was talking about putting the Taliban back in charge again before he left office.
But so was
it's kind of
Trump.
funny how
Trump decided that Trump had cut a deal with the Taliban, and the Taliban was going to buy the deal. But for some reason, Biden didn't do it. Biden just thought, we're just going to pull out. No, you don't pull out without a deal with the Taliban. We were going to make a deal with the Taliban. We were going to give them X amount of shit if they left Pakistan government alone and just give them some area. And they were agreeing to that. But Biden just pulled everything else. The Taliban's like, screw it. We're just going to take over. And we really want them to have a whole country there. And that sounds stupid to me because we're just going to end up back over there again. Yeah, we are. It's just a matter of time. But China's going to have the same problem Russia had. They're not going to be able to keep them out. Poor Russia was there for 10 years, and they got their asses handed to them all the time. China's going to have the same problem.
Because of us. I mean, we're the ones who was aiding the Northern Alliance.
But see, we left all this tech now, so they're going to be using it against it. If China gets in there and tries to take over, they're going to drive
Reagan supported the Northern Alliance. That's where they got those shoulder rockets, man. I mean, that was a big deal. That was the turning point when they could whack Trump. You know, you have guerrillas running around who could whack tanks and other things. I mean,
Russia had them really nice helicopters over there. One of the baddest ass helicopters ever built for any army.
They do have cool helicopters, but we do too.
Yeah, but these guys are sitting hiding behind rocks on mountains, popping. Hey, look at this! Boom! They knocked out this guy. I mean, it was hard. It was hard on Russia. And Russia.
Our Apache helicopter is 100% badass, man. You know,
No doubt.
that thing is, it's amazing what it can do, but you only really need a few Apaches to control a whole area.
Now,
I
let's see,
mean,
where were we? Let me see where we were left on the news. Let's see what we got left in here. A lot of guns. No, we haven't talked about that. Oh, the wobble in the moon. So there was a wobble in the moon orbit, and they said in
I know we're screwed,
2030
man.
it's going to start causing all kind of crazy flooding. So
It's going to make Kamala Harris cackle more.
I hope it's going gone by then. We're talking 2030. That's what 9 years from now.
No, she'll be emperor by then, man. She'll be like, and people are like, I love your cackle. I'll tell you, man, things are that weird. Things are that weird.
Oh, and
But
then,
I don't care.
Of course,
Do you really care? It makes good radio.
We did talk about Texas mayor going to arrest the Democrats when they come back to the state. So this was basically no. The bad part for the Democrats is they don't look good anywhere they go in this. Even
Nope.
the Washington Times and New York Times and all are having a hard time portraying this as something good. Leaving your vote just makes you look chicken shit, and it does. And eventually, what's his name says he's going to keep calling sessions until he gets tired, and after X amount of sessions, he's going to say they abandoned their seats, and they're going to get fired. And when they come back, they're going to get arrested. So they'll get displaced, and the bills will get passed. I mean, it's like 3-1 in Texas legislature, so they can't.
But this is the Democrats' time to shine, man. They have a good run right now. You know what I mean? They should be able to get stuff done, but they can't because they're too busy fighting with each other.
Well, it's more than that, though. They didn't win enough of the Senate. They only got 51 out of so they only got Kamala. It's a 50-50 tie in the Senate right now. So they only got Kamala's vote to break the tie.
Oh.
So that really doesn't give them much because most stuff needs 60 votes to pass. There are stuff that a simple majority can get in, but then you've got the other lady who's saying no, you can't do this, you can't do that. So it's making it hard on them. Now the House, they've controlled the House great. I mean, Nancy says vote, everybody votes. Nobody ever votes against what Nancy says. Nobody. I got to say this, Democrats, don't take this the wrong way, but if you're sitting in a House seat, you're a coward. You never vote against your party. You never think anything's wrong. And we know a lot of what they're putting up is bad bills. So a $3.5 million infrastructure, but how much of that y'all think is going to go to infrastructure? None.
Zero.
How much of that is going to actually go to the people? So they're saying that the Democrats are touting all these plans for Democrats and middle class, right? So out of $3.5 trillion, $300 million are going to them. The rest are going to pork belly deals for their friends and families that got them elected. Sorry, guys, but that's just the way politics works. What do you mean? Do I think Trump's going to win in 2024? I don't know if Trump's going to run in 2024.
He's not going to run, man. No way.
He said he was, but I don't know if he really is. Well, the rumor was, it's a rumor. The rumor was that he was going to run, and him and DeSantis is going to run. So DeSantis' numbers are through the roof. He's got like an 86% approval rating in Florida and about an 80% across the country. So even with Democrats in his own state, they like him. So if he runs as VP and Trump runs as president, yeah, he might. And what the hitch is, they want Trump to run right now with DeSantis as VP because if Trump wins and he gets his VP, then we'll get him for 12 years. Trump will go out in 4 years and DeSantis will take over for 8. And the Democrats will be out for 12 years, and the Republicans actually can get some stuff done. That we'll have to wait and see. You can keep your fingers crossed. Frankly, right now, I'd rather have Trump in there than Biden. I just don't like Biden. He's even though he's a namesake with Joe, the guy's he's always like, "Hi, I'm Joe Biden, and I'm here to talk to you about how to pick grapes. About missile defense systems. But really, I'd like to talk to you about how to pick grapes." Guy is a Fruit Loop, man. But I told everybody years back that if he got in, he was going to want to do things his way. Everybody said, oh, he's controlled. No, he's not. He wants to do things his way. He wants to prove to Obama that he was the better president. Him and Obama used to fight about this all the time. It made the press several occasions. That's why you never seen Joe Biden doing anything as VP, other than going to Ukraine and threatening to, take money away from people, because they were going to, indict his kid. Yeah, and the Republicans are already talking about impeaching him over that. Yeah, because they impeached Trump for far less. I don't know, guys. It's tough these days. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. But I know we got to get out of here in a few minutes because the wonderful girls will be coming up. Amelia Pisano and Michelle DeRoche on The Outer Realm will be up in just a few minutes. I think they're going to be on Skippy tonight. If I heard right, they're not going to be on StreamYard. What do you mean? Do I like Ron? You mean DeSantis? I don't really know him. I mean, so far he seems to be okay, but I don't really know enough about him to say yay or nay. I mean, I know he's well liked in his own state. People like him down there. He seems to get along well. You mean a running mate for Trump? Yeah, if him and Trump get together, they'll probably have an easy win in the White House. I don't think it'll be a hard thing for them. Nah, I think it'll be an easy win. So all my Trumper friends out there, if he does run again, y'all got a good shot in this next election. Y'all got a good shot at taking everything, the presidency, the House, the Senate. As it is, if y'all don't take the House and Senate with the 11 vote advantage y'all already going to have coming into it, shame on y'all. You're talking about Liz Cheney. Actually, I'm hearing Liz and the other guy are going to have a hard time. They got a lot of money, but they're not getting the support from the people. Yeah, they're getting support from businesses, but the people who have to vote are not giving the support. Well, I imagine Dick Cheney's having a shit fit over his daughter. Yeah, just the fact that she's voting with Democrats. Oh, no. Remember, I don't know how when I was doing radio when the Bushes won, I called him Darth Cheney because he always reminded me of Darth Vader. And then, the man got his heart ripped out, got a new heart put in, and went back to work. I'm Darth Vader. Don't fuck with me. Oh, beep. I hope the beeper caught that. No, that's what I called him, Darth Cheney, because he was an evil son of a bitch. Darth Cheney was just evil, man. I mean, this guy was really the guy from the dark side. And I can't believe he's all right with the way his daughter's voting. He must be like comatose or something. He's still alive. Yeah, no, he's still alive. But he's got to be like, what are you doing, child? Quit that shit. Yeah, she ran on the name, but it looks like she's screwing the name up. She's been removed from all the Republican Party's.
Liz Cheney.
Yeah, she's been removed from all of them, and she's getting a lot of money. She's already up to $3.5 million for re-election.
She's pretty crazy though.
Nobody likes her in the state anymore.
Yeah.
Some of the people are Trumpers. But we got to go because we got to let the girls get on. It's 4 minutes till. I'll tell everyone thanks for hanging out. Well, we only got through a third of what we want to talk to. Michael and I got off in guns early on the show, so we got through about half actually.
We didn't even talk about food, man.
We're going to have some conspiracy shows coming up. I got quite a few friends of mine have asked me to get back into the 9/11 conspiracies, and quite a few conspiracies for that matter. Some of the stuff that's going on now. So we're going to be broaching that in the next few weeks, probably about 2 weeks. I might let one of the other hosts. I'll probably be there, but I might let one of the other hosts format it. We got a couple of conspiracy hosts on the network. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
looking for more. We're always looking for hosts. Look, I've always had 2 or 3 conspiracy hosts. We're short one right now, but I've always kept 1 or 2 on the network because you never know what conspiracy is going to turn out to be the real thing. You got to remember, like Love Canal was a conspiracy and it turned out to be the real thing. There's a lot of things we found over the years that were conspiracies that turned out like when we were talking about 9/11. People talked about the Twin Towers even in the earliest part of Clinton's election. But still, no one did anything, and it turned it's conspiracy, and it happened. So from time to time, the conspiracies turn out to be real. So you always got to pay attention. Well, no, there's a lot of them are just bullshit, but a lot of them are not. And then there's always a little twist with the truth. Sometimes when there's a conspiracy, it may not be true, but it may have been started by something that was true.
Yep.
But anyway, on that note, we got to get out of here. Y'all come check out Michael. He'll be on tomorrow on Red Pill News, causing wreaking havoc. Remember, vote. We've got lots of shows up on People's Choice. Get over to People's Choice Awards and vote. I was nominated for most influential podcast. Yeah, go vote for that for sure. I might get a paycheck for that one. Actually, no, Gene, we didn't get into that. We didn't get in that either. But no, there's lots of stuff to talk about. Well, we'll be doing the news. I don't know for sure. I got to talk with the good ones. We'll either be back on the news Friday or we'll be doing Science and Beyond up for the awards. So either this Friday or next Wednesday, we're going to be doing a show with them. But whatever show we're not, we're going to be catching up on politics. Well, there's a lot of stuff we didn't get into tonight. No, there's a lot of stuff going on. We didn't talk about the Haitian thing, what's going on down there, and the so-called conspiracy about America sent killers down there to take out their president. Yeah, they caught 2 of them. They got them arrested. Yeah, they're in jail down there. So there's that, there's that to talk about and some other stuff to talk about besides that. So there's just a lot of stuff we didn't get a chance. We didn't get to catch any Euro news that's been going on right now or talk about it Canadians. We're going to be doing a show on religious stuff in the future. About the 1,500 kids that were unburied in Canada, where there was all kind of sex crimes and stuff. Some of the kids that were unburied both in this country and in Europe, they're all connected together through the church. So we'll be discussing that. Remember, I tell people all this all the time. The church isn't, remember, there's spirituality and there's religion. It's fine to believe in God. It's fine to believe in Jesus. Believe whatever makes you comfortable. Like I said, believe whatever makes you feel snug in the rug is a bug that's snug in the rug. But remember, religion itself was written for the control of man by man. God did not come down and write the Bible. Some man wrote the Bible.
God doesn't need your money. How's
Yeah,
that?
he doesn't. He doesn't need your money. Neither does Jesus. And just so y'all know this, the only thing that was found written in Aramaic at the time of Christ was the St. Thomas epistles. And it clearly says, split a rock there, I am split. It did not believe in organized religion. And I didn't see Jesus, working in any church. He was out on the beach preaching here and there. So remember that, guys, love who you want, believe in what you want.
He was against the church, man.
He was.
But the church used that he was all, they used him, right?
Yeah,
Just like people referencing Jim Crow era, that was their own party. Interesting.
That's why the Jews, Pontius Pilate said, it's in your hands. The Jews could have said, no, we don't want to crucify him, but they didn't. So he didn't have to die for us, but the Jews chose that he did. So just remember how things actually go down. I know because you get in church, they want to change it around, just like changing the history.
They want that money. That collection plate goes around. Then people look at each other, what you put in there, so people tend to put more because they're judged by the one sitting next to them. They know how to play it.
And Chris, if you believe in Jesus, go be saved, dude. Yeah, if you think you need to be saved, there's lots of churches you can go be saved at. Oh, yeah.
Buddha.
Don't
become the big Buddha, man.
But anyway, we got to get out of here because I know Michelle's going to start hitting me up in a minute.
Uh-oh.
So guys and girls, good night. Thanks for tuning in to the Centralist. We'll catch y'all this week or next week whenever we're back. If not, we'll be on Science and Beyond. UFO Uncovered will be coming back in about 3 weeks, but we're catching up on a lot of news. We're just behind on the news, and right now there's no shows that we're in front of that we can run over on. So, we're on hard breaks, in other words. So on that note, good night. Stay tuned for the Outer Realm, and we'll see y'all in about 5 minutes. Good night, everybody.
Bye, y'all.